Hello and welcome to Thursday's interview with me, Anne Diamond, on Viking.TV. Hallo alle sammen, as they say in Norway, because today we are going to immerse ourselves in Norwegian art. This is the biggest treat, I promise you. And if you've ever cruised aboard the Viking Orion, you may already have experienced the amazing skills of my guest today, because his enthralling photographs are right there on the walls of the restaurant, and they are stunning. Have a look. You'll recognise them if you've been on board the Orion. If you haven't, you will. One day, hopefully soon. They are amazing, beautiful nature photographs. And I think you need to see them big. But wait, there's more. Because as a child, my special guest today picked up a camera when he found an old one in the attic. And like anyone, he wasn't particularly brilliant with his first attempt, but then he was only 10. But by the time he'd had them developed and looked through the roll and decided that maybe just a few of them were actually quite good and worth considering, he had already caught the photography bug. And though he didn't know it, he'd sparked an obsession that would only grow and evolve. And now he is one of the world's top photographers and certainly one of Norway's proudest. He has a fascination with nature and particularly water and its reflections, but also trees, air and sky, but occasionally people too. Just look at these, for instance. And these are all to be found in his latest book, A Conversation with Nature. Something of which Monet, I think, would be proud. And look at that, people too, family members on what, a canoe in sunset. And winter holidays, people skating on the snow and the ice. Looks wonderful, doesn't it? And these are all from his book, which I'm proud to say I have, yeah, Conversation with Nature. So, well, let me introduce you to my guest himself, Marius Schultz, who joins us now from his home in... Actually, where are you, Marius? And welcome.
I'm in Oslo.
Well,
in my home.
Your home. It's lovely to see you, and one of your beautiful works behind you. Actually, we'll take a closer look at that particular photograph later, but welcome. And I love your work, and I think anyone who's ever seen it falls in love with your work. Am I right in that I said that you picked up a camera as just a very little boy?
That's true. We were photographing happy family, and pictures was kind of a daily thing. And I found the camera in the attic, and wondered how that worked. And I gave it to one of my uncles, and they put in a roll of film for me and just said, you know, try. And that's how it started.
Where did you point your camera? What did you want to take photographs of, or don't you really remember?
Yes, I do, because there were about, you know, it's film, it's 36 images on one roll.
Yeah.
And 6 of them were something on. Yeah. And I didn't know anything about the camera. I just have saw the old family members, you know, pushing the button, and that I knew too how to push, but I didn't know how to set the. But I remember I read very much on the package to see that it was like full sunlight, and you should put on this and that, and so. Those 6 were amazing, and I said to myself, that I never became better than I was when I was 10.
Oh,
because it was you know, free of joy, free of skills, just pointing at what I loved, and which was like my grandfather and brother playing badminton in the garden. And my sister on a horse, she was 2 years old, and things like that. You know, it seemed like everyday stuff. It was for me, and but that's, you know, what I do today as well. Yes. I do things I love. And I point the camera at things I love.
You're capturing a moment in time, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So those first photographs of your family, of just enjoying life as a little boy. Tell me about your family. I mean, you say that everybody in your family picked up a camera. I suppose all families do.
Yes.
What sort of family did you grow up with?
I have a picture here. I don't know if you can see it. This is my mother.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's a little bit, and
oh, she's beautiful.
And my uncle, he was one of the first that studied photography in the U.S. From Norway in the beginning of the 50s or mid 50s. And when he came back, to Norway, he lived in the basement where my mother lived, and he had a studio, and he was shooting at my mother and uncles and the family to practice and to his skills. And so these kind of pictures were hanging around my home. And I also have another example that, you don't know about these things before you're really grown up, but things like that affects you.
Yes.
When you're small.
Yes.
And it's like these photo albums.
Oh.
Where you can see what's happening in the cabin or in holidays and family. You can see. These are the pictures I took. This was the things I was also interested in.
Yes. They tell a story, don't they?
They do.
They're beautiful. And I love those old-fashioned albums where people also wrote in white on, and they just wrote so that you knew what those pictures meant and who they were of. Yeah. I love that. That's beautiful. So oh yes, go on.
And they spend a lot of time in putting the images in the book and forming it, everything to make that story, to tell what happened that summer or that wedding or whatever.
Exactly, it's telling a story and capturing a moment in time. And I can see now, if you grew up in that sort of family where photographs were taken like that, yes, you must have been inspired to capture those same moments that mean something to you.
We didn't have mobile phones or nothing else to record situations.
Well, don't you think we take too many pictures now? We almost devalue the value of the picture because we take too many.
Yes, it's. I think there are many problems with that, but one of them is that the digital system is not made to last.
Mm.
So these analog images, which are now 50, 60, 70 years old, you won't see them today. I hope all these pictures we take today with the mobile phones, because the technology won't carry through all those years unless you print it.
Yes, 99% of them will be lost, won't they? Printing. Yeah. We'll talk more about that later, because I know that your pictures are incredible when they are big, when they are printed big. Let's talk about that again in a moment. But first of all, I've got some photographs you sent us of your family. One going back to 1960, I think, here.
Yeah.
Like so many families, but who's there?
We were kind of a strange family with many breakups and new mothers. And so from the left is my step-grandmother.
Yeah.
I don't know who's behind, but the grandfather is the one in the middle with my mother sitting on the lap. And my uncle is next to the right, which is my father with the glasses.
Oh yes, they would be so proud to know that you've done so well with photography. Who took that photograph? You probably don't even know, do you?
No, that one I don't know.
Oh, we've got a lovely picture of you as a very little boy, and frankly, you haven't changed that much. No. It's the same face.
I guess that's the uncle I'm talking about that took the picture of my mother. who did that.
It's a sensational photograph. And then one of you older, and again, you can see the same person in that face. That's a lovely one of you. When you were about, what, 20 something?
Yes.
And you have chosen to occasionally show the two together. I know. Yeah. So that's the evolving face of an evolving photographer.
Yeah, that's kind of, you know, when you work with photography all your life, you can start to mix these kind of things.
So let's look first at your Waves series, because the photographs from your Waves series show that they're black and white, which is interesting, and they're all of your family and other people. If we flip through some of those, tell us what we're looking at. I mean, this is just one of those gorgeous atmospheric shots.
Okay, this is in Denmark. Well, first I have to tell you that Waves is a diary that I have written all my life, and we live by the sea, and I was looking at the water, and I needed a name for my diary, and that when I looked at the waves, there were no waves. It was almost calm water, but there were some small, I don't know what you call it in English, but
ripples.
Ripples, yes.
Yeah.
So the first line was like, I will call this book Waves, even though the ripples are small or the downturns are small. The waves can come in all sizes.
Oh yes.
And so I thought that was a good metaphor for life and your experience and your feelings in life. What's happening. So that's became like a main theme for my life and for my photography. And I have connected it to the black and white series of Waves, which is people by the sea and by close to water.
Yeah, I know that you love water, and we'll talk about that more as well. As we look through some of these pictures from your Waves series, why would you choose to take them in black and white? I mean, I understand black and white can be very powerful, but why do you sometimes choose black and white as opposed to color?
This is because color was not that good at the time. I started in like 19.
See, look at that. That's absolutely the most beautiful photograph at an unusual angle.
Yeah. You know, there's so many stories here, but I had also like an philosophy that I had said that I wanted to see that the people's expressions by the water and the sea is the same all the way around the world. So we are kind of disconnected when we are emotionally, and when we are close to the sea. The sea will empower us or take our so our hate, our fear, everything is like you feel in a better mood, so to speak, when you're close to water, and
Why we are drawn to water, aren't we?
Yeah.
Is that family?
Yeah, no, that's not family. It's
a family.
I often go by sailboat in the summer, and the main project every summer was to capture moods and people by water and create summer moods and feelings. And I call this project One World, One Face. This was like an under category under the Waves, and so it's exploring. It's and
oh wow.
And it's kind of difficult to get these kind of shots, even though it looks easy. It's when you're on a boat, you're on a boat. There's very few motives beside the ocean itself. But so you have to go places and search for those good moments.
Yes, and you captured it there, a split second. But look at the angles, and I mean that is just amazing. But over the years, as everybody now watching will discover in the next few minutes or so that you have this close affiliation with water, but we all do, don't we? We are fascinated by the sea and rivers. We're drawn to it, and
Yes.
I don't know why. You almost want to immerse yourself in it too.
Yes. Somebody says it's because when we're in the stomach of our mother, we are in water.
Mm. Mm.
So maybe.
And I've spoken to a doctor who says that all the little hairs on our face are all grow in the direction of swimming through water. We are water beings. We evolved that way anyway.
Yeah.
When did you first think then that photography would be more than a hobby? It could be a career.
It was quite late in life, actually. I always photographed. I always took photos. That's like I said, it's a hobby. It's just a call. I pick the camera up and then wherever is something to take pictures of. And but I compare feelings very often. What do I love the most? Do I like this more than that? And like if I had a regular job, I would be dissatisfied. This can't compare to the, and I thought I was wasting my time actually. So when I what do you call it, inherit some money when I was like in 35 years, I had no. It's a long time since I speak English.
Yeah, but that was
no excuse anymore to not to go full time for my art.
Yes.
So that changed it all.
Still risky, but wonderful. What a wonderful chance. Now let's get down to the water. It's a key theme that you explore in your work. And you've explained that you like to get out on the water. You like to see the relationship between water and human beings. Mm-hmm. Do you actually take out a canoe and look for inspiration? Because I've watched some of your little videos, and either you are paddling your own canoe or somebody else's. But I looked at this one. This is absolutely beautiful. A lake near your home.
Mm-hmm.
And did you just go out on your own, or is somebody with you paddling the canoe while you're taking video and photographs?
I am on a canoe alone.
Alone?
And I'm shooting it.
Well, how are you doing both?
A little bit lucky there. There was a little drift in the water. So I had a little, speed in the canoe. So I didn't have to I was very aware that one paddle would make some waves. And so it just happened.
It's just beautiful. I mean, where you live is absolutely gorgeous. But then you pan across, following the motion of the horse, I suppose. And again, we're seeing the beautiful dappled light on the water and the ripples. And then you go wider and you're looking at the reflections in the water. And then you go up to the sky. And I can start to see where your inspiration comes from. What a wonderful day that must have been.
It was kind of a normal day at the lake, not special. It's a stunning place all the way around. Nature is always stunning. It's your eyes.
If you bother to take enough time to look. To pause and look. But that was interesting because I thought that video was lovely because you then start to see some of your photographs that result from that sort of research almost.
Yes.
And you see the beautiful landscapes that you take stills of. So when you go out looking for inspiration or just looking at nature, do you take video first like that and then think, I'll come back and take some still photographs, or have you got a stills camera with you as well?
No, it's I will say that in 25 years ago, I did a lot of video, and I thought video and film was my main direction in life. I was very fascinating. I did a lot of editing, and editing learned me the still images.
Yes.
Because when you're editing, you can see how things fits to the next edit.
Yes.
And yes, so I've always been very fascinated by movies and films, and so video is also very much into me.
Yes, part of your art. It's part of
my art, yes, but I don't use it so much. But I that's the great thing about having analog and old recordings, is that I can go back.
Yes.
And I found some water studies I did like 25 years ago, and had like the video camera just pointing down at the water for 30 minutes. And it's very fascinating because in those 30 minutes, it's a show. It's you don't know what to expect the next second.
It's nature putting on a show for you.
Yes.
Yeah. I picked out, if you'll forgive me, because I've been so fascinated by your work, I picked out some of your little videos, and then I watched to see how they seem to have inspired great stills photographs.
Mm-hmm.
If you'll forgive me, let me show my first example, which is where you've got a video, and this is lake life. Now, you just look at this. This is a video, but it's almost a moving picture, a work of art. We see a man on a surfboard or on a board.
SUP. Mm.
And but there's a bird. Now, watch the bird. Is it a goose? Flying past and making the most beautiful image for you there. And then you can see how that moment in time inspired you to take a shot like that. Wow. And then another one that is in the latest book called Gravity. Again, these beautiful lake shots. So which came first, the video or the stills?
Oh, the stills, because that's the camera I found. So
I got it the wrong way round. I thought maybe you'd gone out on your canoe and you'd taken the video and thought, I'll go back with a stills camera and capture that moment in a still.
I can show you one picture I have. Is this is my friends.
Yeah.
We are about 20 years old, and I was taking this, and this was just just for fun. Like I have another picture that you have to show you, because this is me when I'm 2 years old.
Oh, that's wonderful. Hold it just a little closer to the camera. Oh my goodness. Well, again, that's lake life, as you say, isn't it?
So this is 1964.
So that was taken by your uncle?
I don't know.
Oh, it's a beautiful photograph.
And this is by me, 1984.
Lovely.
So,
I mean, look at that. That's absolutely beautiful.
But I didn't see this image. This is like 10 years ago. My mother came to me and said, Marius, you might be interested in this. I found it in a purse that I had. So
how wonderful to have photographs going right back. I mean, I think that's why we're all so fascinated by old photographs too. But I love that one. I mean, that is work of art. Let me show you another video that I thought was beautiful. You called it Winter Study. Yep. And again, we see your fascination with reeds in the water, but this is the reeds in winter. So it's a very sort of quite a harsh landscape. It looks cold, looks semi-frozen, beautiful reflections though. I mean, wow, look at that. So that's the video, but then again, we can see a still that might have been, and that's the one. Is that one of the ones? It must be from the same sort of series as the one hanging behind you.
No.
No?
It's this is 10 years ago.
Oh, you are fascinated.
But that is that one, the blue one, is December last year.
You are fascinated by reeds in water. I know that, aren't you?
But the thing is that I don't have to put a date on, because nature is not changing.
No.
We are changing.
I mean, that's what's wonderful about nature, is it happens. You think if I missed that image this year, it'll be it'll be back. Yeah. Now, tell me also about trees. Mm-hmm. I mean, I love, like you, I love trees. I love the fact that they've been around a very long time, and they've seen things that we haven't seen. They've marked history. But what is it about trees that you find so inspiring?
I think human perceptions, how people have made. Also, there's many stories to trees. They're of course beautiful as they are, but how we look at trees and make them like stories of our lives. Tree of life. We explain things through the trees. What do you call it? Family tree. You know, yeah. It's
yes.
And in all bigger religions, the trees are important part of telling the story about the religion and how the.
But when you take a picture of trees, you like to look up to the sky through the tree.
Yes, that's true. Because that's how we see it.
Yes, that's how we see it. Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And I thought also the wondering, you know, when these stories about, you know, Tree of Life and all that our ancestors did, they must have been underneath the tree and looking up.
Yeah.
And they have a fireplace or something, and you know, they had a great deal of time, and they made stories.
And you also think about the tree looking down on you as well. The tree has witnessed so much. That's a beautiful one. Apple tree in the morning. Thing.
No, that's not the apple tree, but that is apple tree.
That's the apple tree. And then there's another one you called Around the Sun. These are all from your lovely conversations with nature.
Yes, it's because you can see the. Yeah, well, as time goes, you know, you play with the sun and you play with people and the great thing is about looking at one object like trees is that you can also go other places and get inspiration from how other people have done it. So
if we go back one of those photographs, no, we go to the one of the. There's a lovely girl in the tree.
Yes.
And she's got beautiful. You can almost not see her. And yet she is there. She's got very auburn hair. She's almost curled around the tree. That's an interesting one. You've taken the interaction between a human and the tree. Beautiful.
I love that. Sometimes, you know, I do more than just observe. I also stage a bit. Yeah. Like the girl was not there before. She didn't just stand there when I came by. I directed her to be there.
Yeah. And it's stunning because she's almost imperceptible, but she is there. And I think there's another lovely one that's probably last in this series called Sophia. You have to tell us who Sophia is, but she's in the tree. I mean, that is gorgeous. Who is Sophia?
It's my daughter.
Oh, how lovely, Marius. And that is the most stunning photograph. Absolutely beautiful. I hope you've got that hanging high on a wall somewhere in your home.
You know, that's when it's your own daughter. It's kind of hard to present it as art. You're so subjective to the image. And but like response like from you now, it's helps me to get motivation to do something more.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. It's stunning, absolutely stunning. The mixture of nature and humanity is there. But you feature in a lot of your work. You feature two girls.
Yes.
So who are they?
There are. The story is we were sitting, my family, and we were eating dinner, and then suddenly two very special red-haired girls passed by our window when we were eating, and I couldn't do anything because I was sitting eating dinner. But the next day I came to the local shop to buy groceries, and there they were. But I couldn't do anything about it because I had 2 small children with me, so I couldn't ask if I could take some pictures of them, which I do if I dare. But after I came out of the shop, they were going before me, in front of me, and I told myself, if they're going in the same way that I'm going to my house, I'm gonna ask if I can take their pictures. And I did. They went in the same way that I lived, and I asked the mother, and if I could permit that I could take pictures of the girls, and she said, yes, I can, because you got 2 such beautiful children. And but I have one problem. I said, I don't have a camera. Well, that's no problem, she said, the mother, and I can take care of your children, so you can run home and get your camera. And so she did. That's, Norway, the trust we have.
That's good. That's wonderful.
So I went home and fetched the camera, and we went into the garden where they lived, in their garden, and I took the first pictures of the 2 girls. And so there's in the series.
Yes, we've got some more, I think, but you clearly stayed in touch because you've taken photographs of them over the years. That's
2 years later.
Yeah,
I sent them a copy because they didn't live in Oslo. They lived in Sandefjord, some 200 kilometers away from Oslo.
And explain that one, because when I first saw this one, I thought, is that 1 girl? Is that 2 girls?
So that's now after the first take, it took 2 years, and I called that mother again and asked if I could take some new pictures of her daughters. And yes, she was so fascinated. Yes, of course. And they came to my cabin, which is and they took into a hotel, and just to be there for me. And the beautiful thing is that part of that project is that not to touch how they are. They are the way they are in everyday life and how they look in their age group. So you'll have to
at that one, because I find that one absolutely amazing. You've called that one Memory, and that's in the book too. This is Feelings, isn't it?
Feelings, yeah.
It's one of the girls there, obviously. But what is it I find amazing is that she's a redhead. She's wearing a very brown or red-headed type dress, and she's on a bed of leaves, and the different gradations of the color, absolutely amazing.
It's kind of luck, but it's all luck, but you search for luck. And it's the perfect time of the day. This is like in late October. The leaves are just fallen, and there's a little bit of sunlight left in the day, and it's this forest, and they have brown clothes, and they chose to wear it. I didn't, and so my part of it is just staging and taking the photos. So the rest is nature and coincidence.
Yes, but it's being able to capture that moment, isn't it? But it's not always people or even nature. Sometimes you seem to just like shapes or architectural features that inspire. You sent us some photographs here of people at a window at sunset. Now you'll have to explain this. Is this the window near the lake, or is it from your house, or what? But these are all gorgeous photographs.
Yeah, this is home base at the cabin. This is the cabin where I grew up.
Oh.
This is inside, and this is, you can see what we look out. When you saw that canoe with the kid and the bird, this is what we can see from that window.
Oh, lovely.
So and my uncle, he actually designed this cabin, and he's an architect, and very fortunate to have good people around me.
But I love that window, and it's interesting, isn't it? When you're a photographer, I suppose you have to be able to capture an image in a frame. And looking through that window, there are so many. Just look. There are so many beautiful images in each frame.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you can see the SUP or the canoe in the window, in one of the windows.
Yeah, exactly. Any one of those would be a great picture.
Yeah.
I know you've traveled a lot, but you also sent us a couple of photographs that you took in Hong Kong, where obviously you seem to be fascinated by architectural shape.
Well, you know, when I go places, I especially brand new places, like I've never been before, I have no idea what it is. I can go for motifs or subjects that are the same as I go to the water. I don't have to. It doesn't have to be my home base. It can be architectural things like this, and do it. And it's a little sad because I have a lot of these things like cities, and which I love, but I don't have enough exhibition space and to go around.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you need to live in a house with lots of white walls so that you can actually hang your paintings big.
Yeah.
It must be very exciting to think that some of your work is traveling all over the world, though, aboard the Viking Orion.
That's very, very nice. So I should be there.
Yeah.
It's great, and I especially enjoy when a lot of people can see the artwork.
And that work is traveling all over the world, as I said. Now, what sort of studio do you have at home? How do you work?
I have a small studio. Well, I have this is from my home studio, where I have most of the techniques, because then I can work, you know, whenever suits me. But I also have I have 3 other studios for different use.
Yeah, different things.
Yes. So some are for.
There we see how you clearly love your work to be big.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't always have to be. I've just got your book, and obviously in a book things are smaller, but your prints are beautiful when they're big and they make impact.
Yes. I made a decision a long time ago that I photograph for big. I'm not that. I think also because of photography has a big challenge for being interesting small. Other people, other photographers, other artists do it, but I really like that big natural view.
I like big too. We've got some pictures now showing how you take an image, but sometimes you change it or at least enhance it a little. One of the pictures I love so much is Queen of Sea. And if we look at that now, that's the photograph that I think the original here that you took. One of the same girls.
Yes.
Yeah. Gosh, they've been very good subjects for you, haven't they, over the years? But there she is in the water with leaves and things and reflections on the water. Now, I think that's the original. And then with your studio technicians, and you obviously work with them, you can choose to enhance color and shading and I don't know, all of the different things you do. And then you end up with a final image, which is, I suppose, to your artistic eye is different. I mean, to me, it looks just as magical as the very first one. But
yes,
we got see again there shows the nuance that you can make in just changing the colors.
You don't have many options. This is analog made. It's made in a darkroom, so it's no digital printing at all. It's only in chemistry and in darkroom. So, there is, you can choose to go for dark, or you can put on different filters. But this is in the evening, so I try to be close to the expression in the afternoon.
Well, it has to appeal to your artistic eye, and that's the final image that you wanted. There's another lovely photograph that's very red of reeds and water. And that is the original image, I presume. And then you chose to enhance it and make some sort of a statement there about China.
Yes, You know the China story.
Tell me the China story.
Yeah, I was one of the lucky guys that found an image or a painting up in my attic. The story is that I inherited from my grandfather 35 years ago, and when everybody has taken their things, there were some few images of paintings left, and I asked my mother if I could take that picture. And she said, yes, of course, that would be nice. So yeah, I had it on my walls for years, and I got a little bit bored of it and put it up in the attic, and there it was for like 10, 15 years. And one day I thought, this is a little bit unprotected.
So this is a Chinese picture of a chicken, basically.
Yeah, chicken on the bamboo is called.
Chicken and bamboo. Yeah. So, and you just inherited it and thought it was lovely, but even you got a little bit bored with it. But then what happened?
Yeah, then I went to the frame maker to put a glass on it because there was no glass on it. And the frame maker, he said, you know, Marius, this might be valuable. And I said, no, this is something I inherited from my grandfather, and this is just a poster from China from 40s or something. So I asked him to check it out if it could be, you know, because I didn't know who the artist was. And so I left the painting with him, and it took almost a year before I came back and said, you know, did you forget me, or who was the artist? And he said, I don't know. But then the guy that worked in that frame maker shop, he said, the guy I talked to, he asked him because he had a Chinese girlfriend, and he had an app for holding over that signature in the painting. And then he found out that this was Su Bei Hong, and I got it on like a yellow post-it note, and he gave it to me just like that. And I went on my cell phone and put in Su Bei Hong, the name of the artist, and it's immediately on Wikipedia it came up. Su Bei Hong, Chinese painter, the father of modern Chinese painting.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is like Monk or you know, one of the most famous painters in China that made that painting.
And yours was an original.
And yeah, that was the next thing. It was to in fact figure out if it was an original and that had a value.
Yeah.
And that was a long journey, but everybody was interested. And but in Norway, they don't know very much about Chinese art. So I had to go to Paris, and I had to go to Sotheby's and to the Chinese and Asian department and ask if I said I had a Su Bei Hong and if they were interested to take a look at it. And they were like this. And they sent an expert to Oslo to look at it and examine it. And they wanted me to sign a contract immediately to get it to Hong Kong to the big auction in Hong Kong.
How much did it sell?
It went for about 3.5 million.
Oh my goodness, Marius!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but with commissions and all that, it was a little bit less for me, but it was a great deal.
Oh my goodness. Do you know, interestingly, without the power of the internet nowadays, you might never have known.
No.
It would have just been a nice old picture, you know, that you.
It will get the glass on the frame, and I will still be in the attic.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, that certainly helps, doesn't it?
But but you know that painting. I don't know if you saw on the. I have one picture because I had to. There's so much copying and false paintings in China. So it's very, very hard to document the originality. But I found my mother helped me, and she found a picture from 1964 that they were sitting in the living room, and that actually the painting was on the wall on the ceiling with my grandfather and everything, eating dinner. So I could what do you call it? Proof it.
Authenticate it.
Authenticate
yeah.
it.
But how did it even get into your family? Do you know?
Yes, I do. This is because there's so many stories come up, and my grandfather, he was a doctor, and in 1946 he left Norway for helping Chinese people in Beijing, and you know, it was like I want to save the world. And he left my mother was only 7-8 years old at home, and her brothers to go to another part of the world to help these poor people. And when I was researching the story, my mother told me that, well, there was a girl or a woman. My mother is quite famous in Norway. She's dead now, but she was, and there was a woman that came up to her once and said, you know, your dad helped nursing my sister to life in Beijing in 1946, and she handed over some photos and some pictures or letters to my mother, but my mother never looked at it. So now when I came with this chicken on the bamboo picture, my mother started digging in her files and found this letter, and that again led to that I could find this article in the Norwegian largest paper about my grandfather, and an interview with him that he talks about his doctor operations in China in 46. So and I saw a picture of this little girl. You know, she became 5 years old or something, that my grandfather helped to life, because this family was, you know, in China there was no doctors, no hospitals, and they were Norwegians, and they were desperate to get in touch with a doctor with a Western background, and so they found my grandfather, and she helped that mother to what do you call it, to deliver.
Yeah, to deliver her baby. Yeah.
Yes. And I got pictures from China, from Beijing, from that period that they have taken. So which is, you know, it's totally different country, and then it's.
So was the painting given to your family as a thank you?
What the painting I'm giving
to your family, was
yeah.
it a thank you for their help?
Well, that I don't know.
Oh.
Because my grandfather, he's probably the most hidden hero in our family.
How amazing!
He's like an explorer, but he didn't talk.
Yeah.
So, but on the walls, there were famous artists, painters like Munch and others, Astrup, if you know him, a Norwegian painter, and all these paintings was a huge inspiration for me when I was a kid. I didn't know, you know, but this, you know, all sums up after you grow up. You see that, it's not a coincidence that I got this education through his paintings.
Yes. Yes, the inspiration.
But he must have had an amazing eye to pick that.
Yes. And he made friends, and he did good deeds, and maybe people rewarded him or thanked him with things like that.
Maybe.
Thing.
And he came home, you know, with 3 rolls of.
But never told his story.
No, but he had no other gifts. He had nothing to my mother as a gift from China, or to, you know, he didn't care. He just had his paintings, and that was he cared about.
Yeah. Can I ask? I hope it's not too impertinent a question, but you said your mother is very well known, or was very well known in Norway. Why? For what reason? Why should we know her?
That's her name is Grete Rode, And she was what do you call it? She had a big company that was called Grete Rode, and to Norwegians, Grete Rode is synonymous with dieting.
Oh,
so she was starting her own company in mid-70s, and getting people with or help people with
diet and nutrition.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she helped learn from her father.
What an amazing family you come from.
Yeah.
And how proud they would be of what you're doing now yourself.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely, because I love your work, and everybody who sees it will. I just want to talk about how you mount an exhibition, because I know I think you've just finished one exhibition. Yes, but sir. Mounting an exhibition, choosing from all of the works that you've ever done, choosing how to display them must be a huge challenge. Now, I'm looking at this one. I love this particular picture, but I don't know. It looks three-dimensional, doesn't it? Is that deliberate? Is that something you've enhanced in the lab, or is that just the photograph and it just looks three-dimensional?
It looks three-dimensional. It's nothing. It's just two-dimensional. It's just a natural. It's light.
Gosh.
That makes it.
Doesn't it though? It looks 3D. It stands out at you. And you clearly love your pictures, as I said before, they lend themselves to being displayed big. And some of these videos show how large some of the pictures can be, because we love the pictures as we see them, but it's when we see them being rolled out in this enormous form, you actually start to see what an impact they can make. That's the one I love. I absolutely love that one, because you almost immerse yourself in it. But this just shows, now, presumably, having your work blown up that big, obviously it has to be incredibly high quality.
Yeah.
What cameras do you use?
Oh, well, I have just a second, I'll show you.
Oh, good. Yes, please. That's why we see it. Oh, an enormous version of that one too.
This is my camera. This is all I've had for 30 years.
Well, I'm sorry, that looks very small.
It's not that small.
Well, it just looks like a regular camera, but clearly you take the most incredible photographs with it. A very, very high quality.
It's very high quality. It's a large, it's a medium format, they call it in technical terms, but it's been recognized as the best camera in the world for this size.
Tell us what it is.
So I didn't know that, but it changed my life when I found it, because this has the format and the quality that I was looking for. Because if you have a small camera, you will lose a lot of quality, colors, and so it's a perfect camera for me.
Right. Well, how long? You've had it for a long time now.
Yes, I had it since 1996.
My goodness. Oh, it's obviously
that's the part of my project, is not to change camera and always use the same, because this lens is very close to the human eye. It's not zooming or doing anything. It's just a normal lens, as they call it. And
but it's digital. Is it?
It's not digital. It's film.
Oh.
So only 10 images in one camera.
So you still have to come home and develop your photographs before you really see what you've got.
Because I believe in the psychological thing, that you have to focus on the feelings, not the technique.
Oh, that's interesting. So look, we've been talking for an hour already. I can't believe it. But I know that anyone watching now who may be lucky enough to be on the Orion at the moment and looking at your photographs, but also just wondering, when they're traveling, and we have a lot of very keen photographers who come on board, Are there any tips you could give them for taking better photographs on their travels? Any easy tips?
You know, being a good photographer is a experience thing. But you can start and also camera is like painting with light. So knowing the light is the essence of knowing how to shoot. So if you study like one object or a face, for example, take the picture of the same face in the morning sun, midday, and in the afternoon, and see the difference. And start being very methodical. Because when you learn the light, the quality of light, then you will learn what's the difference, what's good and what you like.
So learn from your own work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't know if that was a good.
No, it's a very good tip. But most of us most of us, I think almost 99% of us probably nowadays take digital photographs, and then we look back, don't we, at them?
Yeah, but you must stop and think a little bit more than just clicking.
Yeah.
You have to observe that light quality is different in the middle of the day and then in the evening.
Yes.
And when you get that quality light in the evening, because also if the sun is right up, you will have the shades under your eyes.
Oh yes, very different. Good.
Very different.
Very, very.
So you want to see your eyes, and you want to see it clearly and good, and not with like Alice Cooper,
Oh no. But also, it's nice to have humans in some of your photographs too, isn't it? Not just to take.
Absolutely.
Use, because a memory is often with a human being in it, isn't it?
Yes, it can be. Because human presence can be in many ways, like buildings and streets and whatever. I mean, in my nature photos, it's a human presence.
Yes.
That's how we observe it. It's a small part of nature.
Sometimes imperceptibly so. Yes, you just catch it. As you and I know, just a few minutes ago, the book arrived for me, and it looks absolutely wonderful. There it is, Conversation with Nature, and it's super duper because it's not just a photography book. It's got lots of bits inside. Has this book been out very long?
4 years.
Oh my goodness, really? And I've only just discovered it. It's doing well. Are you working on anything new?
I would very much like to publish more books. I have materials for many books.
You must have so many photographs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you log? I mean, we saw you working with a computer. Do you log everything? Do you log all your photographs? You must do.
This is film. So I have what do you call it? An album for each year.
Oh.
So I can go back 30 years ago and just pull out the album.
Oh, that's
and find what I'm looking for. So, but I also had these themes during the years. So it's very easy for me to find and do new things. And the digital part is just confusing.
Oh, I know. Well, you can have too much, can't you? You can. But I just can't thank you enough for giving us a glimpse into your world, because I'm so proud of actually getting this book in time to say thank you to you. Thank you very, very much indeed. And I'm sure we'll all be able to see more of your amazing photographs in the future. But for the moment, thank you so much, Marius. Thank you.
I'm very glad to be here.
Thank you for giving us a lovely glimpse into your world through the art of photography. It's been brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Well, there you go. Wasn't that wonderful? I mean, I told you the photographs would be stunning, and they really are. And the book is available too, and we'll tell you how to get that as well. So next week here on Viking TV, I'm going to be joined by an amazing man who's a Cajun accordion player and singer. Now, he's Bruce Degrepont and from Louisiana, and he's going to be performing for Viking guests sailing on the Mississippi River on the amazing new Viking Mississippi riverboat. That is going to be fantastic. He is the most engaging person, and his music, well, you just have to get up and dance to. So I'll leave you at the moment sitting in your chair, hopefully, but next week I promise you you'll have to get up and boogie around the kitchen. Until I see you next week, thank you very much and goodbye.